the ability to critically think has been lost on a lot of people. And that's because you don't have to think. With things like AI and chat GPT and all these things, you don't really have to think. So when you have these influencers or these people that give advice, you don't have to think, because you already think what they say is the gospel, because it's then congruent with their life, because you can see them living these luxury lifestyles, so they must be giving out the right information. Female life coach got exposed and it's getting ugly. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a video by the YouTuber Omizi, a regular on this channel. Full link to the video will be in the description if you want to watch it uninterrupted. Please like this video, sub to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
At this point, we all know how cringy red pill content creators can be. And
Red Pill was very cringy. Did y'all ever watch the Red Pill when it was at its highest? Now, I'm gonna admit, I did watch it at some point. Now, to be honest, I will say this about the Red Pill. On the surface level, it does provide some sort of valuable information, like things like, go to the gym, eat properly, take care of yourself, take care of your health, be a man of your word, provide, protect. Things like that are not inherently bad. But with any good thing, some players in the game have like messages that go off the rails, like have a roster of women, have sex with 50 women before you get married, act like this so your woman can always be on her toes and stuff like that. Things like that can be a little bit, too much.
And 9 times out of 10, when we say those words red pill, we often associate it with the men and the manosphere and just young men being affected by these content creators. But oftentimes we don't look at the opposite side of the spectrum. Now, we've mentioned before that there's a female version of the red pill, but we don't talk about it quite often because I think it's actually more subtle and subdued than the manosphere and the man red pill content.
I heard that you don't know how to get spoiled by a man. I know that you guys need my help. That's why I'm here. See, how men are is competitive. They're very competitive. So if you tell a man that your friend is being taken care like this, then their competitive nature comes up and they're like, okay, this is what I'm competing with.
But while I was at DreamCon, Abba and Preach dropped what is probably the Andrew Tate equivalent on the women's side, their video on a person called the Wizard Liz. Now, I know many of you might be asking,
dang, she got 8.1 million subs. Dang, okay. Go ahead.
Well, who is the Wizard Liz, and why would Omar say that she's a red pill content creator for women? Well,
2023 is about to come and we are gonna get confident right now, right here. When you find the clown shoes, I want you to take them and put them on because that's what you are. That's literally what you are. You're just a clown. Stop doubting yourself. I'm proud of you. Realize that nobody cares if you're lazy. Listen, my love, I
don't really see anything wrong yet. I mean, sounds like it's like some form of tough love or self-validation. Just from these clips, that's all I've gotten. Does this sound reminiscent of Red Pill? Yeah, in a sense, but nothing too outlandish so far.
I am sick and tired of you. Are you not tired of being overlooked? Are you not tired of walking somewhere and literally no one looks at you because you are just plain?
Well, to be fair, I don't even know if women have that problem. Now, this is where my red pill hat is going to come on. I don't even think you need the red pill to know that women are inherently valuable and men look at women every time. I don't know which women feel like they're not being seen. Now, I'm not a woman, so maybe they are not. I think the issue is they're not being seen by the men they actually want to look at them. They're being seen, but just not by the men they're interested in. I guess that's just what it is. So, maybe that's the play. Yo, I can get you the man you actually want, not the other men that give you attention. I can give you the man you want. Just follow these rules. I don't know if she got a course, but if she does, that's just part for the course. No pun intended. Maybe that's what she does, selling a bill of goods to attract the man you want. Dang, that sounds red pill. That sounds like plagiarism right there.
You're just average. You're one of the average people. I will in this video show you how to stop being ugly. I'm not saying any of you are ugly. I'm just saying stop being ugly.
Yeah. That's her. 26-year-old life coach with 8 million subscribers, but she's recently been caught up in a scandal. She got engaged to a man within 7 months, and she was 4 months pregnant, but then she ultimately gets cheated on. Now, we've seen this happen in the red pill community before, and we know how this could end. Funniest thing about red pill content creators, and now we're going to discuss how it doesn't just exist on the man's side, but it also exists on the woman's side, is that they are so naive in the reality of their situation, and they come to the internet and they spin these webs of lies and stories and don't actually live their lives. This woman moved fast in the relationship and then came to the internet and bragged as if it was something, you know, good to be talked about how fast they moved.
Swear guys, when I met Landon, immediately I thought I would want to a family with this guy. And he also told me immediately when we hanged out in Santorini, I knew you were gonna be my wife. He's like, I became so protective over you already because I knew this is my wife immediately when I saw you.
And I literally told her within 36 hours, I was like, look, this is gonna sound like a lot and I'm sorry because I know it's weird, but I know I'm supposed to marry you.
Wait, what? 36 hours. You're already talking about marriage. Run for the hills. Run for the hills. If you are getting somebody saying that they're gonna marry you after 36 hours, yeah, something is off, you know? It's just a little bit spooky out here in these streets, you know what I mean? Like, it's not mathing right, you know what I mean? It's not mathing.
I know somebody's going to be in my comments talking about societal pressures, her being 26-year-old. Look, I don't care about none of that. How are you as a self-proclaimed coach for the young woman getting love bombed so fast, so hard, and so aggressively that you fall for this nonsense, but then come back to the internet and spew your rhetoric about confidence and being secure and all these other things like that? To me, it's just a walking contradiction, but that's why I also have her in that red pill category, because this is so reminiscent of all the other red pill guys. You know, Walter and Sneeko and all those other people.
Wasn't the whole thing with Walter? If you don't know who Walter is, that's Fresh on the Fresh and Fit podcast. So he's the other person, darker skinned dude. There was this whole issue, I think it was last year or maybe 2 years ago, where he, you know, had relations with a escort, but he claimed he didn't know she was an escort at the time. And basically, dude was tricking on her and got her pregnant. Now, if you watch their content, they're all about, yeah, be socially aware. Look out for tricks so you don't pay nothing and you know how to, like, avoid all these situations and all these scenarios. And these dudes don't follow none of that. Again, what they're saying, be aware. Know how to spot this type of women and that type of women so you don't engage. It's good advice. But they don't follow their own advice. Fresh impregnated a woman that was doing stuff for money, who was an escort. And he tried to play it off like, yo, you don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. I'm really that dude. No, you're not escaping this smoke. You gonna get this smoke. He got exposed, and it just further explained how the message could get diluted because of the person who is espousing the message. And then when you see that, okay, someone is not being congruent with their message, you automatically think that message is bad.
Women. Another hallmark of being a red pill content creator, along with the hypocrisy between your real life and what you're putting on the internet, is also just giving very, very, very bad advice for young women to listen to.
I know that you guys need my help. That's why I'm here. If you are already in a relationship and your partner, he didn't spoil you yet and you want him to start spoiling you, just tell him, like, I really would appreciate it if you gave me some money, like an allowance. And with my mom, her ex-husband, he knew if he worked or if he didn't work, she would still continue to provide and stay because of the children. I need women to understand that men will say they want good women, but good women never get rewarded. It's always like, oh, I want a day.
Wait, hold on. You have to be you want to get rewarded for being a good person? Doesn't that mean that you're acting? If you are not genuinely a good person, that means you will seek reward because this is genuinely not you. So you're striving to be something. So you want to get rewarded to be something. So you don't get rewarded for being a good woman. You just be a good woman. That don't make any sense. But here's the thing that I just like clocked in what she said. I think there's this warped view that the red pill and this woman keep espousing, like, yo, men for some reason have an abundance of resources that they can just spend money on women which way they want because they're men or something like that. It's just weird. Like, we live in a society where, the economy is tough right now. Like, I ain't got it like that. This is the scenario I'm thinking about right here. Walk with me a little bit. You're in a loving relationship, right? And your man is just making just enough to pay the bills and, afford vacations here and there, but modest living, nothing too crazy. Y'all are not struggling. You have a roof over your head. Everything's great. Then you listen to a woman like this and you start thinking to yourself, wait, how I'm living right now, modestly, no complaints or anything. This is poor living. I think I deserve more. So you now bring these new requirements into your loving, modest relationship that didn't need to be in there, and then you cause a whole cycle of problems. Now the dude feels he's less than a man because he's not giving you an allowance. Now you feel like you're not satisfied because you're not getting an allowance. You're just opening the door for more like dysfunction to happen. I think if you have a good relationship, yes, should you find ways to better your relationship, but it should not be on the basis of something that is going to cause some type of friction in your relationship.
One girl, I want a girl that has been there from the beginning, but those women get literally later on cheated on.
You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. You cannot make this up. God, she sounds like Myron right now. Now she is getting into her Myron bag. She's literally telling women to be children, ask for allowances, but then talking about how good women get cheated on as well. Listen. And when I tell y'all this totally goes under the radar because of the aesthetic that she's giving off in her videos. I mean, her videos get millions upon millions of views. Low lift, no editing, just soft talking to an iPhone about how good girls get cheated on and women should ask for allowances. Now, I'm not necessarily blaming Liz for what happened to herself. She got cheated on ultimately. But what I am saying is that I find it so strange and so weird that these people get online and are so gung-ho about giving advice, are so ready to be upfront, ready to teach women how to be more confident, even though they're getting lip fillers and other injections and Botox and all this plastic surgery. How to get the perfect man that they want, even though if we watch that full video that Liz put out where she was talking about Q&A with her husband, that guy was clearly psychotic. And then how they're talking about how you can get in the most perfect relationship possible while whole time being with a narcissist cheater.
I am living in this country. My partner is this person. My partner spoils me and buys me everything I want. I am a successful YouTuber. I wrote everything that I wanted down as if it was happening right now. 1 year later, I'm living exactly the life that I wrote down.
Yeah, that's cool and all, but you never wrote anything about how your partner is supportive, how your partner cares for you.
That's true. That's one of the biggest quarrels I just laid out earlier in this video. Everything seems so surface level. You are mentioning the most materialistic things and you're not really digging deeper into what you could potentially be looking for. That's one of the issues, right? And like I said, sometimes the red pill does this. They tell you to look out for these type of women so you can avoid. Now, they don't tell you what to do when you find a woman that is actually a good woman. They just say if she's quiet and if she can cook and clean, that's all you need. Okay, cool. But what about conversations in terms of what are her morals? What are her values? How does she see a family? What is her stance on families? How does she want to raise kids? How does she want to raise kids? Does she have a relationship with God? How committed to her faith is she? Is she a good person? Is she supportive? Is she, loving, caring, nurturing? Things that require more than a 30-minute conversation. Things that are ongoing conversations throughout the tenure of your relationship before you get married. These are things that would set you up for either a successful relationship / marriage or the type of relationship where it's just that you're here for a good time, not a long time. Wherever you want to go, that's dependent, that's on you. But I'm just saying, having these influencers, these red pill content creators telling you surface level stuff and pretty much looking at women or looking at the world through the prism of materialism, it's not going to go well for you in the long run. So be very careful who you listen to online.
You, how they are as a parent, how they are as an actual partner, as opposed to a bank account. So it's no wonder why you get cheated on, because you are so worried about your partner's finances and what they can do for you financially. You're not worried about yourself, or you're not worried about if they're cheating, if they're abusive, if there are all other things that matter. Like, what's their personality like? And this is what they are teaching these women, is to look at other men as objects, which sounds like the rhetoric that Byron and Walter use on Fresh and Fit. Look, that's why I'm saying it's all one and the same. Something I fail to understand about these women, you know, the one that live like this in real life, is that why do they think that they're the only ones that are treating their man in the relationship as an object, and their man isn't treating them as an object? And it's funny because when they do get cheated on, they get super upset about it. But in reality, you were using him and he was using you. So what's the difference? And just like in the men's red pill community, I always wonder what the actual audience looks like and what they take from and interpret from this stuff. So when I found out that there are women out there that are treating the Wizard Liz as some sort of gospel, I actually had to get shocked. There's this blog post about how this person views the Wizard Liz and how she interprets them. And honestly, it's scary. There are a lot more personal growth and lifestyle influencers out there, but so far, these are the best self-improvement YouTube channels that I regularly watch and highly suggest to you. Talking about Wizard Liz and a couple other people, but mainly Wizard Liz. These are the channels I like to binge watch whenever I'm about to eat my meals, you know? Nothing wrong with that, but as we get deeper, it gets crazier. Watching their videos literally changed my life, and so sharing their platforms with you is the best thing I could do for them. Actually, these women are the ones who gave me the idea to start this blog. When I hit rock bottom in the middle of 22, I found comfort and peace in their pep talk videos. They became my lifeline. These YouTubers became more than simply figures on my screen for me. They became big sisters and internet best friends who...
Yo, you know, this is crazy, and I think this brings up another topic, and an important one at that. I think we live in a generation of internet people who are lost. The audience, people who consume content, very lost, because the internet to me used to be a place just to, you know, access information or have a good time, be entertained. But now we see the people who are the leaders, the gatekeepers of information, or seemingly looking like they're living a nice life. So you feel like they have all the answers for why you are feeling a certain way. We see these people as, you know, life coaches essentially, and like big brothers, big sisters, like she's mentioning. The issue that keeps coming up is that these people don't know you. Why are you looking for information and guidance from people that are not in your immediate circle? Maybe bring whatever you have going on to your parents, maybe your friends, but people you don't know online, and you start seeing them as big brothers or mentors and things like that. You don't know these people. They don't know you. And if we're in a generation filled with lost people, the people that make you feel good, it's not necessarily good for you long term. Sometimes tough love is a good thing. And I'm not saying that these guys are not giving good advice sometimes, but when I tell you that some of the things they say is so surface level that you take it literally, it's going to be a detriment to you in the long run. I think one thing that people should start developing is this ability to discern information. Yes, you can get a blanket statement of information, but you should be able to critically think on what you're seeing or the information you're being given. Critically think and dissect it so you know how to take the advice. Critically think and choose if you want to take this advice in terms of like applying it to your life or not. The ability to critically think has been lost on a lot of people. And that's because you don't have to think. With things like AI and Chat GPT and all these things, you don't really have to think. You already have a robot thinking for you. So when you have things like this, like these influencers or these people that give advice, you don't have to think, because you already think what they say is the gospel, because it's then congruent with their life, because you can see them living these luxury lifestyles, so they must be giving out the right information. That's not the case, man. It's not the case. Different strokes for different folks, though, you know?
Who helped me get out of a rut. It was through this experience that I felt compelled to be the guiding light for others in need, just as I once was. What? These are women who have insecurities and are shit-talking men in relationships left, right, and sideways. Hell, they're shit-talking you, but you just feel like that's the thing that you need in that moment of weakness. Literally, these women are getting cheated on. Like, why are these your lifeline? Why are these your besties? Why are these your big sisters? They don't know you. That was such a weird statement.
Are you no longer attracted to men?
No, I'm a sapiosexual and I'm a demisexual. I need a deep emotional connection and I need someone who is intelligent. Men are incapable of both of those things. I have outgrown the quote unquote intelligence of a male because their intelligence that I perceived as intelligence is no longer intelligence.
Dang, tell us how you really feel.
Most husbands hate their wives. They do. I danced for 4 years. I stripped for 4 years. I danced from 2011 to 2015. I know everything there is to know about men, okay? I've never been naive to the bullshit. I found out male nature for what it was at 19 years old. Never been married before. Don't want to ever be married. Don't ever want to have children.
So you found out about male nature at 19 years old through a strip club, and that's how you came to the conclusion that all men hate their wives. And then the other lady said that she's not attracted to men because men have perceived intelligence. This is women's self-help that is on the internet, and I promise you, I hate playing this card. If the roles were reversed, people would be saying that this is not good content.
No, keep it a buck, keep it a bean. They will say this is misogyny. They will say this is misogyny. I bet some of y'all don't know the definition of misandry, though. The hatred of men. Yeah, y'all don't hear that a lot. But it's very, very interesting how content like that seems to be pushed in the algorithm, and it's very palatable when women diss men. But when men do the same thing, you pretty much get some ramifications for that, some consequences. But, you know, these clips don't surprise me. I mean, we live in a time where the debate is everything. Like being at odds, being, you know, opposing sides, being at opposing sides is very, very welcomed. You know, the man versus the woman, Republicans versus Democrat, you know. It's just you have to pick a side. There is a gender war. I think we are all seeing it, you know? So her dissing men, saying they're not intelligent, all of that, you know, okay. It's just like another Tuesday, you know? But what is the long-term ramifications of all of this? You have women that are saying these disparaging things about men, and then you have the whole feminist movement, which says all men are trash. Why do you think most people are not in a relationship these days? We have created a culture where it's very, very encouraged to hate the other side. Men do it with the red pill, but I do believe the red pill was a response to decades of telling men that they ain't, you know, they ain't crap. You know what I'm saying? But two wrongs don't make a right. But we have to understand where all this is coming from. Men were supposed to be the logical ones, right? Why are we feeling and feeding to the information that all women are, you know, whores and they just want your money? Do those type of women exist? You bet your sweet dollar they do. But again, it goes back to what I said. Learn discernment. Learn how to critically think. It's not bad to there's nothing wrong with getting advice on the internet, but it's how you choose to apply that advice. Take the advice, internalize it, critically think about it, decipher it, and use what you have learned and what you have deciphered to then apply to your life. I would say that's the best advice I can give. And I'm not an advice giver.
Content. This is bad content. Take away the mics, take away the platform, etc., etc. I don't know how you can say all men hate their wives from the perspective of being at a strip club. That's low-key like saying, oh, I work at a casino. Everybody has a gambling addiction. Duh. Now, I have no problem with any conversation about the dating plights or why are men more lonely, why are women more lonely, why aren't people coming together in union, etc., etc., when it's all introducing nuance to the conversation. But a lot of these people become hyperbolic. You know, they take their one story, conflate it to this big old thing and put it everywhere, and anybody's supposed to consume it. And then what happens is you get a generation of losers who internalize all of this messaging.
In case you forgot that men are awful, I posted a video about what the girlies are going to do if we ever hit an apocalyptic situation and like life.
Daily reminder that we're justified for hating men. Ladies and gentlemen, do you think a man can make a video saying daily reminder that we are justified for hating women? Do you think this is going to be received the same way? I don't know.
Life's never going back to normal. And there are currently almost 7,000 comments of women saying that they would themselves rather than deal with the men out in the world because they know that they would be abused, used, and discarded. Not to mention all the girlies in the comments saying that they would make sure their body was burned, disposed of, like mangled beyond recognition, because even death will not stop men from using our bodies against our will.
What is she talking about? Does she just think men are just savage, like going through the streets, roaming through the streets, trying to find women to assault? I'm not saying they're not like creeps out there, but geez, John from down the street is not looking to do none of that to you. What is wrong with? I don't get this. This is a perceived fear. It's not real, you know. But I can't blame her if the internet is literally spewing out all these false information that men are out to get you, men are the boogeyman. Like, you're eventually gonna buy into it. Then you're gonna live your life being scared of men and hating men. But then you call a man if it's but then you call a man if there's like an emergency. You call the cops. So it's just like, I don't know. But can we be shocked that this is the type of content that gets pushed in the algorithm? It's just generating more hate and more debates and a more divide between both genders. That's just where we at. Like, it's not shocking at all.
So you talk about the kids that are in the classroom telling the young women that you need to be in the kitchen and you don't need to be leading something, you need to be cooking, and that women are just for sex or they're degenerates and blah, blah, they just want me for my money, which is all bad rhetoric. I take that in. I believe that that's true. But we don't talk about the other side of the spectrum when women start internalizing this conversation.
Whenever someone says, not all men cheat, I be looking at them feeling sorry for them. Like, you'll figure it out. Who cares if they cheat? Do they have money to give you? You can't depend on a man to make you happy anyway. You can just depend on them to make you have a better lifestyle and give you money, and that might make you happy.
You're a man and you don't like when women say, oh my God, I hate men, watch this video. A woman says, I hate men. That means because she's largely had negative experiences with men. But it's not all men. I know, but it's a lot, and the sentiment underlying that is we don't know which men are safe. So
then you should have the same energy when men say all women are whores because they've dealt with only whores. But then you would tell that same man with that logic that you are being unreasonable. So it's unreasonable if men use that same logic you just spewed to say all women are whores. It's the same logic. Keep up with me, right? You just said you had bad experiences with men. So it's logical to say you hate men because you don't know which ones are safe or which ones are like, you know, unsafe. With that same logic, you should not call men misogynist if a man says all women are whores. You shouldn't. Or all women are gold diggers and they just want you for your money. You should be like, you know what? You're brave to say that because I understand you had bad experiences with women. No. It's rules for me, but not rules for thee. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's a flawed level of thinking. Like, you can't base a general based off of your isolated incidents. And I get it, we're human, that we have no choice but to do that. It's like a safeguard. It's like you just don't even want to believe that there's an alternative to what you think because of what you've experienced, and you think your experience is your reality, which in some extent, you lived your experience, so it is a reality, your reality, but there is objective truths and there's subjective truths. Subjective is what your isolated incidents are, but the objective is the general stat, So it's just unfortunate.
So if you become reactive, you start yelling at us about how it's not all men and some men are good. Show us. Don't get defensive. Just be there and listen to what we have to say, because trust me, you will be horrified by a lot of our experiences. If we find a man that we like, we will be loyal for as long as we possibly can. There will be no one to even cheat with. We don't like most men. We stay away from them because we feel unsafe.
So you get a generation of zero accountability for their action. All men are trash, fake women empowerment, collective people who are looking up to people like the Wizard Liz and these other content creators. But the Wizard Liz is going through some of the same things, if not worse, than what you are going through in your real life. It's literally the same thing that I always talk about and these other content creators always talk about when it comes to Fresh and Fit, is that looking up to these people, saying that this is your lifeline, saying that this is your sister, only leads to dumb ass idolization of people who are ultimately losers or are living in a world of hypocrisy. Look, we never really talked about it, but the Wizard Liz got cheated on and it was totally avoidable.
He started DMing a girl on Snapchat who was apparently fans of Liz.
Oh shit.
So here's a conversation. He goes, "Are you in Dallas?" She's like, "Yeah, why?" I was just wondering who all I know is still here. I just got back from London in NYC Tuesday, then back in Dallas for a week. Do you have plans? And she says, "Aren't you married?"
Dang. Yo, the Riz is subpar. You know what I mean? She said, "Aren't you married? Like, what are you doing texting me for?" Dang. I can only imagine the look on his face, like, oh, I done messed up.
He says no, plus just looking for...
Oh, shoot. He was, like, fully committed. No, just looking for friends. Dang.
Friends. And then she goes, "Since when aren't you married?" He's technically engaged, but,
So he was not lying.
Okay.
Stop.
Yeah, well, it's complicated, long-distance internet thing, but I'm not married. Not a normal life for sure. So your whole relationship is fake? No, it's not, but I'm not married. That part is not real. What does that even mean? Yeah, haha, do you want to see me? I can tell you in person. I don't want to hang out with married men, and I saw you wearing a wedding ring. Dang. Well, that's not fair, but no, not married. And then she screenshots him with the ring, I guess. Oh, God, that's a warrant for the video, but never...
Bro, at this point, just take the L, because you're just making it worse. If you had stopped responding that, after she responded, "Aren't you married?" you should have just stopped, because the fact that he continued on with the conversation was probably more of a trigger for her, whoever this woman he's texting is, to make this public. Because, dude, you don't know when to take your L. Take your L and just dip. You shouldn't be cheating in the first place, but,
Never mind, it's complicated. Explain. No, haha, never mind. I told you it's complicated. Not legally married, maybe will be. Oof. You're engaged to somebody who's saying maybe will be to random women. He's a piece of shit for what he did. Let's not even absolve him. There's no reason for him to cheat of this dynamic, especially getting a woman pregnant. You're a dumbass.
Look, Wizard Liz ain't nobody to be listening to, and as far as I'm concerned, the red pill pipeline extends all the way to the women's side. It's not something that's just on the male side, but it's something that's not talked about, because it is socially more acceptable to say that you hate men, this, that, and the third, but also pushing nasty ass rhetoric that can be detrimental to a young woman's health and development as well. These are the things that need to be nipped in the bud. I tell people all the time, online advice is not something that people should be looking towards. Like, I'm talking about true self-help, true improvement. Get somebody that is actually in your real life that can...
All right, we're going to leave it right there. Let me know what you guys thought about the video. I do agree with the last thing he said, because I said it earlier in this video. If you're looking for advice, find people in your immediate circle that know you and know how to properly give you advice based on your situation, because, they know you. But anyways, let me know what you guys thought about the video. Again, link for the full video will be in the description. Like this video, sub to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.